In this video, I'm going to talk about adding light fixtures to your project. I started a new file. This is not the project file, to sort of illustrate two possible conditions that you may encounter when you do this work. What I've done is I've got two volumes here that go from level 1 to level 2, and I'm going to put a floor in this one, and I'm going to put a pitched roof on this one. So I will go to level 2. And for the first one, I'm going to go to floor. Doesn't really matter what floor I use here. And I will make a rectangle inside those walls. Hit the check mark and we'll attach it in this case. Okay. Let's look at this in 3D. So there we have a floor at level 2 and then these wall conditions. All right, so for adding lights, if the lights are located in the ceiling, where you would bring them in is in a ceiling plan. So I'm going to go to level 1, reflected ceiling plan or ceiling plan, and I'm going to insert a few lights. So I'm going to go to component here. I'm going to click and search for, let's just light. So there's going to be a few that are already loaded into your projects. I'll just start with the 6-inch incandescent, and I'll just put a few of these in my ceiling. Okay, and I will also add a square fixture, and this one is mounted to the surface. Okay, so now when I go to view and I need a section across here, and I click on this, right click, and I go to that view, I don't see anything, but what I'm going to do is change my detail level to fine. And there's the square one. And if I go to wireframe, so that I basically see everything in that ceiling, there are the 3 recessed incandescent fixtures. Okay, now I can also go to L1 and create a camera view to sort of illustrate, where those fixtures are. So there's one of them that we're catching just part of, and then there's one in the distance there. So that is for a condition where you have a floor above, or you've constructed your roof out of a floor assembly. In this second one here, I am going to put a pitched roof. So I'm going to go to architecture and roof. Okay, let's see here. Let's go to L2. And this level, I'm going to start, make sure I get this on level 2. I'm on level 2, and now I'm going to go to that roof again. And I'll just make a rectangular roof. Doesn't really matter if it has an overhang or anything like that. And I'm going to hit check. So we're only seeing it up to a certain height because the view range has been set to a certain height. So let's just hop over to 3D view, take a look. There's the full roof. It's a hipped roof, so it's sloping in from all 4 sides. Now I'm going to go to the level 1 ceiling plan, and I'm going to go to components, and I'm going to insert this square light like I did in the other one. And as you can see, I've got that symbol suggesting that it can't do it. And that's because there's no ceiling in that area. So let's shift this over here, click here, go to that view. Let's see here what I have. So right now, there's the roof assembly, and we're seeing in the distance here that because this is this hipped roof, that's what those lines are. But there's really no ceiling located in this particular view. So what I need to do is go to, I don't know if I need to be in L1 to do this, but we'll just start there. So I'm going to go to ceiling, and the default is going to be this 2x2 acoustic ceiling tile system. which is something that you might put in a more commercial space. For us, let's see if there's something else that might be better. 5/8 inch gypsum wallboard on wood furring. Probably this is a little bit more closely aligned to what we're going to be doing. So you can see here that it's going to automatically generate the ceiling inside the walls. So I can just click there and let's see, generate that thing, that ceiling. So let's go to this look. Yes, there is a ceiling in there. And you can see that it's, I didn't really make any changes to my level. And for whatever reason, it has, mounted it to 9 feet, which is not where we want it. We want it to be up at the bottom of our roof structure. So where would that be? Well, it really has to do with how the roof structure is sitting on the walls. So if I was to measure here from this point to my rafters and then take this and down to -6 inches, that's really where that would be located. And then this, we wouldn't have this wood furring. In fact, if you're working on a condition like this, basically you want to duplicate this, and I'm just going to call it 5/8 inch gypsum wallboard and edit the structure. And basically, I don't know if it will let us completely remove this. Yeah, it won't. But what we can do is just make it very thin, as if it doesn't exist for the purposes of assembly here. Now, let's just check this out again. I'm not sure why we're getting that extra line. But basically, what I would then want to do is bring this up to, so it has some other component in there. I want to bring the top of the gypsum wallboard up. So let's just start by putting this up at 12 feet. Apply. Feet. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to drop it down 5/8 of an inch, so it sits below 0.375. In this case, you would make that adjustment for 11. Okay, so basically the drywall is sitting directly below. Anyway, this isn't a big issue for this particular project, but that is how I would recommend that you sort of set that up. Now, once I have a ceiling drawn in there and I've got it set to a certain height, what I can do is now begin to bring in lights. So I'm going to go to architecture component, and now it's letting me place this light fixture, and same thing with the other type. I could bring in one of these incandescent recessed fixtures and place a few in here, and go to my section, and there you can see the one that's surface mounted and the ones that are recessed. If you go to Load Autodesk Families and you search for lights, you're going to find quite a few options, and it's a little bit perhaps overwhelming. I would think that the majority of the fixtures you're going to have are going to be either those recessed downlights or incandescents, probably not incandescents, but anyway, that type of light that's recessed into the ceiling. So you can easily use those, but you'll find that there's other forms of fixtures, and you can experiment with them. There's also some floor lamps, but keep in mind that with the reflected ceiling plan, those fixtures may not show up because they're below. The reflected ceiling plan is just showing things above a certain set height. But anyway, those are possibilities. And there's also, I believe, a desk lamp that you could put in the room if you would like. But again, we're really mostly concerned about things that would be installed and fixed, not things that can be kind of moved around. There are a few pendants that you might find useful. A pendant is something that hangs from the ceiling. And, you know, this makes sense for these, that they're upside down in these images. So you're seeing them as if you were looking up at the ceiling. So there's a bunch of different types of pendants. I mean, what these lines is basically indicating how it's being hung. Some of these are 2D views, so you want to probably stick with the 3D stuff. Also, when you come down towards the bottom here, you're going to find some options for sconces. Sconces are fixtures that are located on walls. So that's something that you may want to experiment with in a motel room. You might have a sconce behind the bed wall or something like that. But anyway, those are some options, and I will perhaps bring in a couple of them just to show you. So I'm now in L1, and I'm going to insert a sconce. But as you can see, it's showing that it's putting one in there, but I can't see it in this view. And that's because its height is probably below the cut line there. So let's see if we go to 3D view 1, there it is. It's been inserted on the wall. And you can adjust the height of that if you would like. Let's see if I put it at 7 feet, maybe that's a little high for a sconce. At what point does it start to show? There it shows now, because it's now above the cut plane. So that's a sconce. And I'm also going to look for a pendant. So I'm going to go to Insert, Load Autodesk Family, Light, and pendant lamp. Let's see here. Let's try this one. Load it. Right now, architecture component, and I'll place one here. Bring our section back, or actually, let's just put another one in there. And that view, and there's my pendant fixture that's hanging below the level of the ceiling. Okay, so those are some options, and I'll give you some criteria for what to put and where in a separate sort of set of instructions.